All right, hello and welcome everyone to today's webinar, Get Your Online Ordering Back In-House. My name is Ryan DeLello. I'm a content specialist for Paytronix, and I'll be your host today. Taking a quick look at today's agenda, we're going to start today's discussion by looking at online ordering industry trends, then dial into the shift to first party in particular. And then we'll look at why operators are switching to in-house solutions and some of the upsides, including guest surveys and integrated loyalty. And then we'll conclude with a bit of food for thought for brands looking to launch an in-house online ordering solution, just some early considerations, and then we'll wrap it all up. So we'll start with kind of a top-line discussion of the online ordering trends. These are more expounded in our latest online ordering report. But just for the relevance of this presentation, some things to keep in mind. First, despite the return of in-person dining, online orders are persisting. You can see on the graph, they're up 50% compared to pre-pandemic levels. And throughout 2022, digital orders are consistently making up 25 to 30% of all orders, compared to less than 10% pre-pandemic. And another trend here, takeout is really taking over. Last year's online ordering report demonstrated that the majority of online orders were for takeout, and this year that trend has continued. In addition, the data shows that delivery customers are different. Though takeout is more popular, we've found that delivery attracts more loyal customers who visit more frequently and tip better. And for all of that, we expect these trends will continue. Now, with those sort of trends in mind, I want to dial into the shift to first party in particular. More brands are shifting to in-house solutions now than ever. A recent study from QSR magazine found consumers trust first-party restaurant delivery 3 times more than third-party platforms to get their food delivered accurately and on time. And that same study found that 9 out of 10 times delivery occasions start with a known brand. And I mention that because that particular stat busts a major myth around third-party marketplaces as a discovery market for new customers. A lot of the conversations we were hearing early on when restaurants were first signing on with third-party delivery aggregators was that they needed space within those sort of marketplaces to allow customers that might just open the app and begin scrolling for options to find their brand. And while there are certainly still plenty of instances of that, this QSR study found that most people opening up the DoorDashes or Grubhub apps of the world know where they're going to order from ahead of time and aren't spending too much time scrolling, trying to figure out what looks good. And the takeaway from that is if customers already know your brand, there's a significant reason to invest in a first-party solution. Now, some of those reasons. For one, we know that customers are frustrated by the issues that are plaguing third-party delivery at the moment. Restaurants in a very inflated market already are dealing with significant menu markups. Customers are facing longer delivery times, sometimes order inaccuracies, and at worst, orders delivered to totally different addresses. And this is something that first-party ordering solutions have the capacity to solve. The second, there's the issue of customer retention and trust. With a first-party ordering solution, you can add in loyalty, and that goes a long way in personalizing the off-premises experience. And more on that later. And secondly, a first-party solution puts the customer into direct contact with the brand. If something goes wrong, the number that they're calling is going to connect them to one of your brand's employees, not a middleman. And that creates opportunities to build really authentic and trusting relationships with customers. And lastly, first-party can open up room for operational efficiencies. Just inherently, there are fewer integrations needed. Given that, assuming you're using the same provider that maybe you use for your POS or your loyalty. But in general, less outsourcing means a bit more of a streamlined order intake process, more of a streamlined delivery process, and more centralized reporting. And you can see on the right here, just kind of expanding on those those online ordering trends that are motivating our conversation today. You can see that the digital orders that are the share of digital orders within total orders on an annual basis has really tripled in the past 3 years. And that's also been accompanied by a rise in an average subtotal just in the past year. A really interesting increase there. Just shows that customers, despite all of the inflation and many markups, are still very interested in online ordering as a service and would only be more interested if some of these issues facing the market today are solved. Now, I just spoke to a few of the ways in which first-party ordering is valuable from a kind of operator and I guess we should say, yeah, from an operations perspective. Looking more towards the guests as an investment, a few considerations for why first-party guests are so valuable and worth your investment. Briefly, they order more frequently, they tip better, they spend more per order, and they're 35% more likely to be members of your loyalty program. So looking to the graphs to the right, you can see first-party guests are buying more expensive items on average. They're tipping more than twice as much on average, and they're visiting more frequently. So reaching these guests and giving them the experience that they want is going to produce incredible returns for your brand because you're dialing into such a valuable part of your customer base. Now, dialing more into your relationship with the customer base, I want to talk about the value of feedback. At a time in which customers have very little patience for ordering mishaps, it's really important to arm your brand with a way to monitor customer satisfaction. Now, Paytronix customer surveys utilize ChatGPT to respond to guest reviews. We call them the guest surveys, formerly feedback. And these automated responses make guests feel heard because they receive a very specific response that signifies that the management has an understanding of what went wrong. And because they're auto-written with AI, it saves employees time. They can continue doing the traditional restaurant work instead of acting as writers. And it also incentivizes return visits, especially if the response includes an apology coupon. And we're going to get a bit more into what those results from acting on feedback are in the next few slides. But the bottom line here is online ordering is really at the helm of your off-premise experience. Arming your brand with the right technology to make the off-premise feel just as authentic and personalized as an in-person visit goes a long way to maximizing your returns and really improving and maintaining guest relationships. That's something that's really only available through the first-party vein. It's difficult to really get through the third-party channels. So with all that talk of guest feedback, here's why ratings matter. Now, optimizing the guest experience by monitoring reviews is a sure way to improve your bottom line. The findings from the latest Paytronix online ordering report show a correlation between 5-star ratings and the highest return rates and tips from guests. And now looking to the right, you can see that response to feedback also helps brands on the whole. Paytronix strategists found orders increased 23% and ratings increased by 22% in the wake of review responses. So making guests feel heard, quickly and intelligently responding to different situations, especially ones that made guests feel dissatisfied, can go a long way in really bolstering your brand's public image. And ultimately, your bottom line as it keeps guests around and motivates them to return. Now, I think the next logical step would be, to think, okay, well, where do these guest relationships ultimately manifest? How do I kind of commodify them? And that's by integrating loyalty into your online ordering strategy. Now, the value here is that adding online ordering to a loyalty program personalizes the off-premises experience and delivers greater value to the customer base. Again, think of the way in which online ordering is sort of your main channel for off-premises experience. Providing a way for guests to earn rewards and gain a more personalized experience really refines that online ordering strategy. We can see here that according to the most recent online ordering report, loyalty attachment rate between first party and third party is staggering. Also, combining loyalty and online ordering can boost order frequency by 18% on average. And we're seeing across all industries a percentage increase in loyalty membership for online orders. So this combination, a lot of brands are realizing makes a lot of sense, and they're quickly moving to combine online ordering and loyalty to get the most out of that off-premises digital experience. Now, with all of those considerations in mind, I want to sort of lead us through a bit of a brainstorming exercise for those who maybe don't have online ordering yet or are working with a third party, but are curious on where to start brainstorming for a first-party solution. And I like to organize this brainstorming discussion using the 4 Ps, that is product, place, price, and promotion. So in these next few slides, I'm going to guide us through each of these aspects of an online ordering solution and give you some food for thought as you begin thinking what might be feasible for your brand. Now, the first aspect of online ordering that we should focus on is obviously the product. What is being ordered? What is maybe being delivered? And that process really begins with looking at your menu and figuring out what is online ordering friendly. What foods are you going to be able to prep and safely package and churn out at a decent enough rate such that it makes sense for a premium ordering experience. Integral to that process is going to be thinking through the packaging, all the sort of measures you're going to have to take to ensure that food is prepared and moved safely. And then you're going to want to arm yourself with some ways to really keep a handle on the production and order intake process. That can look like inventory management to ensure that what's being shown on your menu is actually accurate with what you have available, as well as order throttling, allowing you to turn off third-party ordering or prioritize certain orders to give your staff a bit more of a bit more visibility into priorities and mitigate any sort of chaos there. And lastly, there's menu testing. Once you have all the products selected for what will be available through online ordering, you've got sort of an online ordering management tool, you've thought through all the packaging, then comes how you're going to present all of your items to your customers. And the most successful of our clients really take this testing process seriously. They understand that rigorous testing, and what I'm talking about is, everything from what image is most compelling to the guest, what order of items works best on the menu, what is the ordering flow like, what sort of pricing resonates most with guests, what deals do well. All of this needs to be considered as you launch a menu in order for it to be a successful interface for your guests. The next is price. Tons of considerations here, but really thinking about it broadly, it's about how will you balance the cost of online ordering for your brand versus the cost to the consumer. For a first-party ordering solution, maybe you're raising an in-house fleet, you need to consider driver costs, you got to consider the gas and maintenance, you got to consider what's going to happen with these drivers on slow days, and also consider the geography that you're in. For a lot of brands, maybe online ordering doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Maybe an order ahead option is better than a delivery option. Think through what that sort of fulfillment looks like after a guest places an online order, based on the sort of traffic in your area, how customers like to or hope to interact with your brand's locations. All of those are sort of factored into the price, as you know, whether delivery is an option or not will ultimately affect the total that's being passed along to your customer and to your brand. If you are working with a third party, consider the cost of third-party fees and commissions, and then weigh that against what could be saved for in the instance in which you transfer to a first-party solution. So a little comparison there. Also consider data rights. That's also that can come at a price for your brand. You know, if you do a bulk of your ordering through third parties, it is sometimes harder to really get to know your customer because you're working with only a certain amount of available sales data through that third party. And then lastly, as I mentioned before, think about what the premium is going to be. What is going to be the online ordering fees passed along to your customer, and make sure that what you're charging your customers is fair and is going to resonate, while also keeping your brand sort of above water. Next is place. This is sort of an operational discussion around online ordering. Before launching, you're going to want to evaluate and prepare your staff. I can't underscore this point enough. So much of the success of online ordering relies on staff understanding how the process works and keeping operations moving smoothly and quickly in stores. On the guest side of things, controlling traffic and through signage in store and in the parking lot is again huge, to the same point of just mitigating chaos and keeping an online ordering flow moving smoothly. Part and parcel of that might be optimizing the payment plan. So that might look like allowing guests to pay in the app ahead of time, completing an online order there, or if they are just going to put in the online order and pay in store, consider having an NFC payment, or any sort of form of payment that would get a guest in and out of your doors more quickly. Have some operational safeguards. I briefly alluded to that earlier. Menu throttling can help just when there's an influx of orders, or that you're going to be short-staffed for the day. Being able to toggle online ordering on and off like that is very easy, but also being able to take advantage of some menu syncing tools, such that if you're running both first party and third party, having a centralized way to sync out menu changes between first and third party menus can be extremely helpful and avoid any headaches in accounting. And then lastly is just to integrate. So much of the success in having online ordering work from your locations is ensuring that all the data flowing through is being compiled into a centralized reporting dashboard, and that kind of visibility will really smooth out operations in your locations. And lastly is promotion, and I kind of mean promotion in two ways. The first is getting the word out about online ordering, and we're all familiar with the sort of marketing tasks that it takes. I've spoken to many brands in the past few months as I've had online ordering webinars who've talked through the process of developing online and in-store banners, launching social media campaigns, leveraging in-store signage and signage maybe at tables. All of those things are key to raising awareness about your online ordering solution, all under the kind of philosophy of like meet your customers where they are. If you've already got a bustling mobile app that is soon to have an added online ordering option, that's probably your best place to let customers know, send them a push notification that online ordering is available, and think through other sort of pre-existent touch points, popular touch points that would be good to notify your customers of a new service like this. That's kind of the marketing aspect to it for awareness. But then there is the promotion to actually get people using online ordering and signed in. And that can come in the form of first-timer and referral bonuses, or launching exclusively to first parties, launching exclusively via first parties, and targeting loyalty members. This can just help really breathe life into your first party online ordering solution in those first few weeks. So as we draw to a close here, just to review a few takeaways here. The first is that online ordering is here to stay. And while restaurants are kind of past the point of just considering online ordering as a whole and more at the point of trying to balance first and third party solutions, I hope this presentation provided some early considerations for why a first party ordering solution is so important and valuable. And in that light, it's important to consider that third party ordering offers brands an easy way to get up and running, and maybe serve as an acquisition tool down the line. But first party ordering really delivers that value. It builds customer lifetime value and will form authentic relationships with your guests. Another point, integrated loyalty and guest surveys bring a personalized touch to guests interacting with your brand on the go. That's really something kind of exclusive to a first party experience, loyalty especially. And lastly, use the 4 Ps to kick off your online ordering solution brainstorm. Those are sort of meant to orient you through to the central considerations at just kind of the highest level. Well, thank you all so much. I will hang around if there are any questions.